My name is Keith Dills. I'm the Interim Dean of the College of Education and Educational Technology. Student teaching abroad is an exciting opportunity for those teacher candidates that are ready to go abroad and engage in student teaching. What takes place is the first half of student teaching that takes place for 15 weeks. The first half of 7.5 weeks takes place here in Pennsylvania. And so they do an experience here, they get the coaching and feedback from our faculty and from the cooperating teacher, and then for the second half of the experience they go abroad and we connect them with a school that we have a relationship with there, and they do student teaching. Generally it's in classes where they speak English, it's classes where they have the expertise, but they go and they enjoy the culture, they learn about the culture. The students there benefit from having somebody from America come and teach them, so their students enjoy this cross-cultural experience. Our students get the benefit of it, and we send supervisors there abroad to give them that coaching and feedback. We stay in touch via technology and via telephones and just to provide that support. But it's a great diverse experience that our students then can take as they go and they look for jobs, and they can really talk about an experience that was powerful for them and educational for them. It opens up their worldview for sure. Sometimes they experience maybe not a cultural shock, but a cultural impact where they weren't expecting things to be slightly different in such minute and everyday kind of ways. It throws them for a little bit, and so it really does open up their perspective on things. It's a cross-cultural experience, so they get to be exposed to a different language when they're out and about. They get exposed to a different economic system. They get exposed to maybe different family patterns. They get exposed to things that are just unusual. And when you're outside of your context, outside of that everyday mundane, run-of-the-mill type of experience, it shocks you into noticing things that maybe you hadn't noticed before. It exposes them to a different educational system, so they might come up with new and innovative ideas and approaches and bring them home in a way that benefits their teaching, that other teachers here in America will see and they would benefit, of course, their future students. Just going to different cultural events and sightseeing and taking pictures and collecting maybe artifacts from their experience and bringing them home. It's great conversation pieces that informs their teaching and provides examples and concrete things that their students can see and touch and feel. And I think they come home enthused and excited, and they have a lot to say. We have 21-year-old students that, and from my vantage point, they're young and they don't have quite as much experience as maybe older teachers, and this really helps to give them an experience that they can pull from in their teaching. Generally, we have students that go to Scandinavia, so you're talking about Denmark and Norway and Sweden. We've also had students go to Ireland, and the nice thing about these placements is that the fact that English is spoken so much in everyday life. You go to a restaurant, you go to get your hair cut, you go into the schools, and people speak English, and they're very friendly and very welcoming, and so we've had such a great experience in these areas. You go to a movie in Denmark, and they have subtitles, and the actors speak English, and so the Danish people can start to understand English at a very early age because they have such a good school system, but also because of the way the movies are. And so if our students happen to go to movies in these areas, they feel at home, and so it's been an excellent experience for our students. The students need to have a 3.0 GPA. They need to have passed the appropriate praxis exams. And of course, these are things that our traditional student teachers must have as well. Our student teachers have to have done very well, and in fact greater than a B grade on their first experience here in Pennsylvania. So in that 15-week experience here in Pennsylvania, they have to excel, have a B or better, and then we would follow through in the placement abroad. But there are more specifics on our website in terms of exactly what courses they have to have had accomplished and what clearances they need, so on and so forth. But that's the general criteria. The application process it takes place online. So if a student would contact the dean's office, it's really the associate dean for teacher education is overseeing this program. He or she would direct a student to the application that's online. The students would click and download the application and complete that, and then return it. And then there are due dates in the spring and in the fall for students to make sure that they get the application in on time, and that's on our website as well, those specific due dates. And then students are invited and they're interviewed by a committee. We have a study abroad committee. So we want to make sure that we have a good feeling for the student, that the student has a good understanding of what the expectations are, what really study abroad and student teaching abroad entails, what the housing arrangements would be, so on and so forth. And then as a result of that interview, we give the student an idea of where we might be able to place them and then go forward from there. Well, all the normal fees and tuition apply, but above and beyond that, there's a $1,000 fee that goes to support our providing the supervision and making the arrangements with the schools, so on and so forth. But cost would also be housing. So if students would go and live in a dormitory that might be associated with the school, that cost would take place. The cost for the airline flight over and all documentation that needs to be gotten from the government in terms of your passport and so on and so forth. Of course, meals would be a part of the cost. So the $1,000 fee plus all the other incidental costs is related with the travel. It's recognized for sure. It's recognized by the Pennsylvania Department of Education as long as you've done half of your student teaching here in Pennsylvania. We have the ability to have them go abroad and have that supervised and have that evaluated with the appropriate forms and documents. But the Pennsylvania Department of Education recognizes that. Schools recognize the experience. They truly do. When they say diversity is something that we want to bring to our schools, and we want people on our staff teaching that value diversity, I think this is a tremendous experience to talk about. It's a tremendous example of the fact that you do value diversity and that you're willing to commit such an effort to gather the experiences that will help. Question would be to do your research, to look at the different countries, to go on the website to see. We have an FAQ that talks about frequently asked questions, and that can help. To talk to faculty, to see, we have several faculty in the College of Education that have been abroad, that have been to these sites, to talk to them to see what their experiences are, what their suggestions are, and really see if this is something that's for you. You have to sort of have an adventurous spirit, and you have to be open to new experiences, and I think you know, as you reflect on what you want and how you want to build your career and whether you think you would be successful at this, reflect, talk to others, do your research, and then go for it. We work very closely with the Office of International Education to be sure that our students are knowledgeable about all the documents that they need, the tips for traveling abroad, the tips for making sure that they have a successful experience from beginning to end. And in fact, there's an orientation that office provides, and we make that mandatory that our students engage in that orientation and so that they have a successful experience.